Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the modern playbook for preventing HIV. And let me tell you, it's a story that goes way beyond a single action. It's about a powerful, combined strategy. So let's just start with a quick question. When you hear HIV prevention, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably one specific thing, right? Maybe condoms. But the real strategy, the one that actually works, is so much bigger than that. We're going to totally expand that picture. The modern answer isn't just about our personal actions. It also pulls in some incredible scientific breakthroughs. And yeah, it even requires us to take a hard look at the societies we live in. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with our own actions and choices. Then we'll look at how science gives us a shield. We're going to spend some real time on the power of ARV pills. That's a game changer. After that, we'll explore how our environment plays a role. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together in a powerful combination punch. Okay, let's jump right into this first category. This is all about the choices we make and the actions we take in our own lives to keep ourselves and others safe.
You know, this is the foundation of prevention that most of us are probably already familiar with. The goal is pretty straightforward. Change our behavior to lower the risk. It's about being aware of the risks and then, actually doing something to minimize them.
And what we see here is a whole spectrum of what those behaviors can look like. It can mean anything from total abstinence or delaying a first sexual encounter to reducing the number of partners you have or being faithful to just one. And of course, the absolute cornerstone of behavioral prevention, using condoms correctly and every single time.
So that's what we can do. Now let's move on and see how this builds, because this is where science steps in with some incredibly powerful tools. This is where medicine really enters the fight. So biomedical interventions are pretty much exactly what they sound like. They're biological and medical tools that create a physical or even a pharmaceutical barrier against the virus. You can think of it like adding a layer of scientific armor to the smart choices we're already making.
A perfect example of this is medical male circumcision. We've had major studies show that it reduces a man's risk of getting HIV through heterosexual sex by about 60%. I mean, think about that, 60%. That is a huge reduction and a really important tool in the prevention playbook.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? This is the crucial part. It's not a magic bullet. The World Health Organization is super clear about this. It reduces risk, but it doesn't get rid of it. It has to be part of a bigger strategy that still includes things like condoms.
And science isn't stopping there. Researchers are working like crazy to develop things like microbicides, which are gels or creams that could give women more control over their protection. And of course, the ultimate goal, the thing we're all hoping for, a safe and effective vaccine.
Okay, now this next part is really fascinating. We're going to talk about how a type of medicine that was first designed to treat HIV has now become one of our most powerful prevention tools. This was a completely revolutionary shift in how we think about this. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. On the left, you've got the classic use of antiretrovirals, or ARVs. They're for people living with HIV to keep the virus suppressed and stay healthy. But look at the right. That's the new paradigm. It's using those same drugs for people who are either positive or negative, specifically to stop the virus in its tracks, to stop it from ever being passed on or acquired.
And this breaks down into 4 absolutely incredible strategies. First up, you've got treatment as prevention, or TASP. This means that when someone with HIV takes their ARVs and gets their viral load to undetectable, they have virtually zero risk of passing it on to a partner. The risk reduction, a staggering 96%. Second, we can prevent mother-to-child transmission, bringing the risk way down to just 1 or 2%. Third is PEP. Think of it like a morning after pill for HIV, a course of ARVs you take after you might have been exposed. And finally, there's PrEP, a daily pill an HIV-negative person can take before any potential exposure to drastically lower their risk.
So, we've talked about our personal behavior, and we've talked about the science. But there's a third absolutely crucial piece of this puzzle we have to get into, the world around us. And that's where structural interventions come in.
Structural interventions are all about tackling the bigger picture. They address the root causes in our society, the social stuff, the economic realities, the political policies that can make it really hard, sometimes even impossible, for people to use all those other prevention methods we just talked about.
And these are the kinds of big, tough issues we're talking about. Things like poverty, which can push people into risky situations just to survive. Laws that criminalize certain groups and drive them into the shadows, away from healthcare. That heavy weight of stigma and discrimination. The disempowerment of women who might not feel they have the power to insist on safer sex.
All of these things in our society can dramatically increase someone's vulnerability to HIV.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We're not going to solve this massive global problem by just handing out condoms. If we really want to create an AIDS-free world, we have to tackle these big picture issues head on.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that none of these strategies is an island. The real power, the thing that truly makes a difference, is when we combine them all into one comprehensive approach.
And here you can see those 3 pillars standing strong, side by side. You have the behavioral things like using condoms, you've got the biomedical tools like PrEP and treatment as prevention, and you've got the structural changes like fighting stigma and empowering women. They all support each other. You need all 3 to build a truly solid defense against HIV.
And that's really the thought we'll end on. The science is there. The strategies exist. We literally have this incredible playbook in our hands. So the challenge now isn't really a lack of knowledge. It's a challenge of access, of equity, and of political will. What's it going to take to make sure that every single one of these tools is available to everyone who needs them, everywhere in the world?